Today we're talking about Notes 1-4, Introduction to Interval Notation. So interval notation is a way of writing the set of all real numbers between two endpoints. Alright, so let's go ahead and just jump in this with some examples. Looking at example number 1, we want you to write all of these in inequality and interval notation. So I want you to go ahead and draw in on your number line a closed circle on -3, and then kind of shade in a line going, let's go to +2 with an open circle on +2. Alright, so if we were to write this using inequality notation, you're going to use both of the endpoints, which are -3, +2, and say that your variable lies between those two values. Now, in this case, it doesn't really matter what variable we use because we're not describing domain or range. You know the most commonly used variable is usually x, so I'm just going to go ahead and use x. And now, last but not least, we need to decide if we need to put any of those or equal to signs underneath. So looking at this, I see I have a closed circle on -3. So that means -3 is included. I need to draw the line underneath next to the -3. The +2, however, is an open circle, so I just leave that one alone. Alright, if I wanted to write this in interval notation, it's fairly simple. How you write interval notation is almost like a coordinate. You write your starting point, comma, your ending point. And what you're going to do is you're going to put either brackets or parentheses or one of each around those numbers. So let's talk about when you use what. You're going to use parentheses when the point is not included. You're going to use brackets when the point is included. So now knowing that, let's try and do interval notation for number 1. So my starting point, it starts at -3, so I'll write out -3, comma, it ends at +2. Now I need to decide parentheses or brackets. So let's do one at a time. -3, closed circle. That means it's included. Included is a bracket. Alright, +2, open circle. That means it's not included. So parentheses. So simple enough. Let's look at number 2. On number 2, I want you to draw in, how about an open circle at -2, and then shade a line, and then let's go ahead and draw an arrow. So this one's going to go on and on. Alright, using inequality notation, let me get my blue pen back. Alright, we're going to say, let's just use the variable x again. X, our values that are shaded, that are used, is everything, well, looking at this, I see it's getting bigger and bigger. It's going to keep on going to the right, increasing. So x is everything bigger than what? -2. I don't use any of those values to the left. So x is everything bigger than -2. Now think about, do I need that or equal to sign underneath? No, because it's an open circle. It's not included, so I'm done. Alright, so let's do this one using interval notation. So interval notation says I need to write my starting point. Well, it starts at -2. Oops, it didn't change. It starts at -2, but where does it end? Well, this one doesn't end. It keeps on going and going and going. So what we use for that is it's going in the positive direction. So we use a positive, this is called an infinity. It's a sideways 8. That means it goes on forever. So positive infinity. Alright, let's talk about brackets or parentheses. So on -2, open circle. So not included, we're going to use parentheses. And infinity, just for a rule of thumb, you might want to write this out on the side. Always, always, always use parentheses for either negative infinity or infinity. Doesn't matter which one, you're always going to use parentheses. So that's your rule on that. Alright, let's try one more, number 3, and let me kind of scroll down to give us, some room to write. Alright, so let's get my red. Okay, on this one we're going to do something a little different. On this one, let's do -1, open circle, and let's draw arrows going to the left on that one. And then let's draw another one. Let's do a closed circle on +2 and draw an arrow going to the right. Alright, so for inequalities on this one, we write this one a little different. So now notice I'm going to use x again. My x values, I've got two situations here. So x is either this way, it's going to the left, it's getting less than. So for this one, x is less than -1. We don't need the or equal to sign because it's an open circle. Or it could be either less than -1 or it might be greater than +2. Those values are getting bigger. And now on that one it is a closed circle, so I do need my or equal to sign. Alright, so this one's a little different. Now let's talk about how we write this one using interval notation. Using interval notation here, just like we have two situations here with the inequality, we're also going to have kind of two situations with the interval notation. So we're going to do one at a time. This one on the left here, the starting point, well, it's going to keep on going to the left and to the left, so there really is no distinct starting point. When it keeps on going to the left and more negative, that's when you're going to use that negative infinity symbol. It's getting more and more negative. So it starts at negative infinity and it ends at -1. So let's already do our parentheses and brackets on this. Remember, your rule, always use parentheses for infinity and negative infinity. And then with the -1, it's an open circle, so we're going to use parentheses. Now instead of writing out or for this guy, we use something that looks kind of like a U. It's called a union. So that means or in the mathematical language. Alright, and so now let's do this next one. So the next one, the starting point is +2, comma, and what is the ending point for this one? Well, it goes on and on and on in the positive direction, so that would be positive infinity. Now let's do parentheses or brackets for these. So the +2 is closed in, it's included, so we're going to do bracket on that guy. And then infinity, remember your rule, always parentheses. I hope this helps. Remember to do your whisk and have a wonderful day.